FNCS Globals 2024 is just around the corner, set to be played on September 7th and 8th, with a total prize pool of $2 million and first place netting $200,000 each. It is safe to say that excitement is brewing, and of course, everyone wants to know who will perform well. Now, most people will bring up the big name duos, Peterbot and Pollo, Clix and Vino, and Kami and Seti. However, everybody recognizes these names and knows they will perform, but these big name teams make up just a few of the 100 participants, so what about the rest? Who are the most underrated teams that nobody is predicting to do well? Well, in this video, I will seek to give those underrated names the exposure they deserve. First is Nathan and CZB. This UK duo has recently been making a name for themselves after a couple seasons of poor grand finals performances and being tied to Archie. However, things have recently been turning around for them and they are now poised to be one of the best performers at Globals. In the most recent FNCS Grand Finals on EU, Nathan and CZB placed 6th, which is what qualified them for Globals. Additionally, they have been the most consistent Cash Cup team in all of EU this chapter, with 3 top 3 placements since June. However, they didn't do too amazing in the most recent EU Duo Cash Cup, only placing 14th. As for what makes them a great pick to do well in Globals though, there are multiple factors. First is their drop spot, which is Grand Glacier. They are contested, but this probably won't be as much of a negative as it seems. CalGamer and Haman, the Middle East team that is contesting them, have historically never performed well at LAN, and neither has really any Middle East player. CalGamer and Haman have also performed poorly in EU scrims recently. Additionally, fighting is one strength of Nathan and CZB, so this spawn fight might actually benefit them. Grand Glacier is also one of the best drop spots this season. It has 5 Avenger chests as well as a Dr. Doom chest off to the side, giving them ample opportunity to obtain good loot. Their scrim placements have also been phenomenal this season, with multiple first places in the first few scrim sessions according to Coach Harry. Finally, there is the meta shift. With DMRs finally being vaulted, the surge-based meta that dominated the last 2 seasons is no more. This means that more aggressive fighting-oriented teams, such as Nathan and CZB, will have a much better time compared to the other teams on the day. Nathan is also one of only 5 controlled players qualified for FNCS Globals, so the meta shift away from DMRs is also a much appreciated change for him. Next is Brycex and Bolts. Bryce and Bolts formed as a duo in Chapter 5 Season 2, but have been consistently placing before that as well. In the 2 grand finals they played together, they placed 6th and 8th, so while neither have quite broken into that top 5 spot yet, their consistency is noteworthy. For additional placements, Brycex actually placed 6th at last year's Globals with Chubbs, another tournament that he was extremely underrated going into. Bolts, on the other hand, has placed top 10 in numerous Cash Cups with and without Bryce. Their only bad performance in recent time was not qualifying for the recent Cash Cup, which has put them off a lot of people's radars. This is what makes them one of the most underrated teams going into Globals, but what makes them a good prediction to place highly at Globals? Well, the drop spot they are currently landing at is uncontested, with a good amount of chests and 1 Avengers chest, but what makes their drop so good is the Forecast Tower. With jetpacks now being vaulted, the importance of claiming a Forecast Tower has only gone up exponentially. Their split drop enables them to get the Forecast Tower every single game it spawns. Now, while Vico and Flixie are landing just north of them uncontested, it wasn't always like that. Chap and Teeny were also landing at Reckless Railways but ended up switching their drop spot to the Underworld. However, in the most recent EU Duo Cash Cup, they got absolutely wiped off spawn at the Underworld. So there is a good chance they may go back to splitting Reckless with Vico and Flixie, as Chap and Vico are both German speakers and likely very good friends. With this in mind, it is safe to say that Bryce and Bolts will have a good chance at placing highly at Globals. Bryce and Bolts aren't even the most underrated NA team either, as that title belongs to Baka and Pars. Baka and Pars are one of the longest standing duos going into Globals, placing at least top 10 in the last 5 FNCS Grand Finals. To give some perspective on how long of a time period that is, the first of these Grand Finals was the 2023 Major 2, all the way back in May of 2023. They also have multiple top 10 Cash Cup placements in this chapter, so this team is no doubt one of the most consistent heading into Globals. They are landing uncontested at the warehouse adjacent to the raft. While it is a low-key spot, teams such as Chap and Teeny have shown before that it could work wonders in a Grand Finals lobby. and the efficacy of this drop spot is only amplified when the forecast tower that spawns there is factored in. Currently, Baka and Pars are getting this tower uncontested, and it is likely to stay that way. The next closest teams are contesting each other at restored reels and likely won't have enough time to get the forecast tower. Even players such as Peterbot are tweeting about how insane of a drop Baka and Pars have, so there is no doubt that they will be one of the top performers at Globals. Next on this list is Batman, Bugha, and Rapid. Now admittedly, they have become much more of a well-known team in recent times thanks to their insane Season 3 performance, but even then, they still don't get the full respect they deserve. They placed 2nd and 8th in the 2 most recent Grand Finals, as well as 1st or 2nd in every single Cash Cup of Season 3, making for one of the best runs of all time in a season, and they have continued this dominance into Season 4, with a 4th place finish in the most recent Cash Cup. As for what makes their chances so good for Globals, it is more of the same. They are currently uncontested at their drop spot of Grim Gate. While Grim Gate is nowhere near as broken as it was in Season 2, it is still an amazing drop in Season 4. The spot has 5 Avengers chests as well as more than enough chests to get fully looted, and with how insane both of them are at fighting, they stand a really good chance at winning the entire tournament. Now for a team that is underrated for all the wrong reasons, Trulex and Chicho. This team sorta gets a lot of hate for being the inventors of the surge-based meta that plagued Season 2 and 3, but they are still a great team. In the last 2 Grand Finals, they placed 12th and 8th, but we know this team can do much better, as in 2023 they were one of the best teams on EU, placing 3rd at the 2023 FNCS Global Championship, and their chances for 2024 Globals are looking good. They are uncontested at their split drop, which is not only center map, but it contains 2 Dr. Doom and 1 Avengers chest. However, this team is known to be very volatile, either playing extremely good or extremely bad. In the most recent Cash Cup, they only placed 36th. This variance in performance takes them off a lot of people's radars, which is what makes them so underrated. Second to last, there is Ping and Wox. Ping and Wox are another recently formed team, and they have shown some prowess in those times. They placed 7th in the most recent EU FNCS Grand Finals. As for Cash Cups, they have 4 top 5 Cash Cup placements this chapter, with one of those being a win. As for their chances going into Globals, it is looking good. Ping and Wox are currently uncontested on the eastern side of Underworld, which is one of the most underrated drops this season. It contains 2 Avenger chests as well as a decent amount of regular chests, so they will be good on loot, and they have shown that they are great spawn fighters as well, dominating Chap and Teeny off spawn in the most recent Cash Cup, so if need be, they can certainly fight it out. Currently, Chap and Teeny are contested by Job and Michael for Globals, so Ping and Wox will also have an easy time getting Surge tags. With all of this in mind, it is safe to say that they will perform well at Globals. Finally, there is Dukes and Sphinx. As of now, this duo is currently getting Brawler's Battleground uncontested. Brawler's Battleground is another really good drop spot, with 5 Avengers chests in the POI. Their placements as a duo have also been great despite only forming recently. They placed 6th in the most recent FNCS Grand Finals. Additionally, they placed 5th in the most recent Duos Cash Cup. Dukes and Sphinx have also played at both of the previous 2 FNCS LANs from years prior, so they have the LAN experience that many who qualified this time around don't, making them a great dark horse pick to do well. But at the end of the day, these are just predictions. All of these teams could just as easily dud due to how volatile Fortnite is as a game, so don't take this ranking as gospel. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see similar content, then like, subscribe, follow my socials, and check out the video on your screen now.